Hey everyone, we are halfway through 2024, which seems like the right time for a mid-year movie review of the best and worst films of the year so far, along with the films that I'm most looking forward to during the second half of the year. So, there have actually been a fair number of decent films released between January and June of this year. However, the number of mediocre films is crushing the box office in the worst possible way right now. So let's start with the films that rose to the top, the cream of the crop, top 5 of the year so far that you should absolutely see if you haven't seen them yet. And that list in alphabetical order starts with Abigail. Horror isn't everyone's cup of tea, but if you like horror or if you're willing to try it, Abigail is a fantastic film about a kidnapping gone horribly wrong and a fresh take on the vampire genre that will leave you feeling like the production crew clearly put some extra time and thought into the script and story before filming began. Dune Part 2. I think that's all I need to say, right? Dune Part 2. It's science fiction at its best. And this film is really at the core about a group of indigenous people who are fighting to defend their planet from the galactic empire that has colonized it and is now stripping away its precious resources. It's a cinematic spectacle of incredible storytelling told on an epic scale that just proves that sequels can be better than the original. Most aren't, but Dune Part 2 focuses in on the character details that make this story so devastating and complex. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the story that comes after the downfall of humanity and the uprising of the apes. This film, it literally is everything you want in a movie. A good story, complex characters, exciting action, and astonishingly good engineers who know how to use AI and CGI to just transform a good film into a visual masterpiece. Mean Girls is the remake of a remake that went from the cinema to Broadway and now back to the cinema. And this is one of those films that I went into and expected to absolutely hate it. And boy, was I pleasantly surprised. In its transition between remakes, Mean Girls took the best parts of its previous iterations and they created this new story. It was totally enjoyable, memorable, and really fun. Monkey Man was a surprise to me. This is a film about the power dynamic between the rich and powerful and the nameless, faceless masses that they seek to control. It's a violent film, perhaps one of the most violent that I've seen in a really long time, but its violence is not gratuitous and feels earned within the story as Kid struggles to avenge the death of his mother. And even still, I think about this film and it really did impact me. It was a really well told story. So, the worst films of the year so far were really bad. They were really bad. And sadly, they seem to all have a common theme. And I hate even saying this out loud. They all featured female leads that the story either failed to adequately support or the production was just too thin to support the structure of the film. Like it just, oh, it's so frustrating to see the worst films of the year so far all be led by females because it totally undermines why those films were made in the first place. If you're gonna make a female lead film, make it a good one. Okay, guys, just make it a good one. So first up, Lisa Frankenstein. Now there were parts of Lisa Frankenstein that I actually kind of enjoyed while watching it, but looking back, I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm looking back on this film and I literally can't remember what they were. The film was utterly forgettable. I barely remember even watching it. There are far better Frankenstein themed films out there to watch that I wouldn't waste my time on this one. I guess that's why I didn't actually do a review of it. Atlas. Atlas is a futuristic killer AI robot story starring Jennifer Lopez. And while there are some interesting ideas in it, nothing in the film was executed particularly well. And the story itself was flat and very uninventive. If this film came out in the 1980s, it would have been groundbreaking. It would have been amazing. Everybody would love it. But the script simply didn't hold up and, didn't age well for today's viewers. And anyone with a basic working knowledge of the science fiction genre would, I don't know, walk away from this film thinking, meh, meh, meh. All right, Damsel. So, yeah, I love dragons. I love, love, love dragons. Give me a dragon, and I'm usually pretty happy. I really wanted to like Damsel because of how well the dragon was actually portrayed in this film. They just cut everything else out and left the dragon in. I think the film would have been fine. But the story didn't support the main character. It just didn't hold up. It did do an interesting thing with kind of subverting an old trope, but there was very little in there that was good or redeeming in the film. It just felt very thin and plastic. However, its biggest mistake is fundamentally misunderstanding how to create a female hero. You don't make a strong female hero by making every male character horrible. Like, no, just don't do that. All right, Madam Web. Oh man, of all the films so far this year, Madam Web is the biggest disappointment because it had so much potential and I was really looking forward to it. The writing took too many shortcuts. The marketing presented the origin story of some of these amazing heroes, but then never got around to any of that in the actual film. And that's just bad. I mean, you don't bait and switch people like that. That was just bad, 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 bad. Madam Web leaves you with the feeling that it was written and rewritten so many times that the director, the cast, the producer, everyone on the film, everyone kind of lost track of what the film was about, which is really, really sad. And that might explain why the marketing campaign was just misleading. Yes. Rebel Moon Part 2, Scargiver. I'm not really sure why this movie was made. I mean, the series, like, it just wasn't that good to start with. And then they made the part 2. I mean, I guess they did it all at once. It all kind of came together at once. But it just wasn't really all that exciting. It wasn't horrible, but it was just so thinly constructed and you don't understand what the whole point of the whole thing was. It just feels like wasted money. And if studios are going to pump that kind of money into a film, you really need to do a better job of understanding the story, the audience, and the characters to make sure that they are all in alignment. Otherwise, it's just an exercise in burning cash. Now, we've been through the good, we've been through the bad. So, what's next for 2024? The next 6 months has some films that will absolutely get me back to the theater. And the sad thing about this list is, like the worst films of the year, it also has a very noticeable theme. They all are sequels or remakes of old stories. It's like Hollywood has forgotten how to be brilliant and inventive with story. While I'm looking forward to these films, I'm a bit terrified that Hollywood just doesn't know how to tell a good original story any longer. And that this is all we're ever going to see moving forward are these visual renditions of books, games, history, and old movies that they think are just provable. So we're just going to get this rehash of the same stuff over and over and over again. In any case, here's a quick list of my most anticipated films over the next 6 months. Wicked. I am a huge Wicked fan. And yeah, I like the musical, whatever. The musical's great. But I am a huge Wicked fan of the books by Gregory Maguire. If you have not read those books, you're so good. 10 times better than the musical. And this film is actually based on the books themselves. So you're getting a lot more story, a lot more content into this film. And I'm really excited about it. And this is just the first part of the story, which is exciting. And it looks spectacular. Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, please. Yes, please. Deadpool and Wolverine. I would watch these two sit around and drink coffee for 2 hours. So yeah, I'm going to the movies to see whatever's on that screen with the two of them, just because I love them. These are two of my favorite characters, and I absolutely can't wait to see it. Borderlands. Now, part of me is a little worried, a little skeptical about the movie, but I am actually really looking forward to it because I like some of the comedy. I like the actors that are in the film, and I have high hopes that it's going to be fantastic. I hope they pull it off. Alien Romulus. Now, okay, I'll be honest. I am a sucker for a good alien movie. And the fact that Alien Romulus brings us back to the original or close to the origin point of the first film has me hopeful that the story may actually deliver some really good surprises. Salem's Lot. This film is a remake of an old movie and an adaptation of Stephen King's short story, Jerusalem's Lot. And you know I love a good vampire film. And since I literally live next door to Salem, Massachusetts, and most of my friends are horror writers, this film better deliver or it's going to get killed. But we'll see if it delivers or if we need to put a stake in its dead, unbeating heart. All right. I'm just kidding. Enough with the vampire violence, everybody. I'm sorry. And the film that will probably be the biggest letdown of 2024 for me, and my money is on The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. I hope I'm wrong because my heart really needs this to be a good movie. But I am now so nervous and skeptical of these things that I guess we're just going to have to find out. All right, so that's my mid-year movie check-in. What I want to know is, what are your top best, worst films of the year? I don't know, give me your top 5. And what are you most looking forward to seeing in the coming months? Definitely let me know in the comments below. And if you like this review, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. I'll also link to the reviews of the films that I have mentioned here if I've done a review on them. All right, everybody, I wish you all happy viewing, and I will see you all again soon. Thanks so much. Bye.